on the background, I've always been that person that likes to improve myself. So I've, watched YouTube videos, go on Instagram. Not much of a reader at times. But, my first book was Rich Dad Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki.
Oh, of course.
Everyone has that.
Yep.
And but having the sense of
What about the other 2 or 3 influential books that you can think of, top of your mind?
I would say Simon Sinek's, Golden Circle.
Oh, yeah?
Start with Why.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm a massive fan of Simon Sinek, man.
Yeah.
And even on his latest one in terms of having an infinite mindset.
Yeah.
Yeah, love that as well.
Play the infinite game.
Yep. Being as long as possible. And I really reflected on that, man. Like being an entrepreneur, you try to grow all the time.
Yeah.
And sometimes your car's falling off and, your engine's broken and you still keep trying to go. But it's actually trying to stay in the game as long as possible.
Yeah. Welcome back, Leverage Addicts. I'm your host, Blandon, and I've had the pleasure to talk with someone who I know from uni days. Now, we didn't hang out much back then, but I remember this guy as the guy I always say what's up to. And, he's always smiling, always friendly, and the Asian dude with boulders for shoulders.
Oh, not anymore, mate.
But over the years, we've actually found more common grounds in mutual interest in business and in property investing. Alister now is a partner in an accounting firm called BetterCo, and he's actively involved in joint ventures and developments, and I'm really excited to have him here today. And thank you for jumping on the podcast, Alister.
Hey, thanks, Blandon. Good to be here, bro. Just so you guys know, Blandon was quite a scux in uni. Yeah?
Oh, no way, bro. No way.
Yeah.
I was just head down, in the library.
Look at us now, man.
Getting the finance calculations all done,
Yeah, time flies. Yeah, good to be here, bro.
Yeah.
And thanks for having me.
But the scux thing was actually him, not me. So
No. We 50-50.
But a quick plug-in, guys. If you guys find value in today's episode, all I asked was this one thing. That is to share it with one person who will find value from it as well. All right. So today, we're actually going to dive into Alister's journey because he's transitioning from working in a full-time role in an accounting firm. He studied in New Zealand and he transitioned from that to becoming a partner in an accounting firm. He does his property investings on the side. He gives a lot of business advice on their podcasts and their Instagram. I'm really interested to know his journey as well because we don't often dive into this kind of stuff on a regular. So you guys get to share that with me today. So I want to start with a question, Alister. Let's jump in with BetterCo. I want to know a little bit more about this advisory firm that you guys have. How did you guys get started? How did you get involved yourself?
Yeah, good question, man. So going right back, actually, a lot of people might know this, who knows me well. I didn't want to be an accountant. Yeah, contrary to belief. I actually wanted to be an architect. So that's why I kind of had that resonation with property and all things aesthetics and interior design. But I asked a lot of people before uni, say, hey, look, you're doing architecture, you're doing interior design, you're obviously not a designer now, you're working in retail. What went wrong there? Was it quite hard to find a job? And they truthfully told me, say, hey, look, yes, it is really hard because of a small pool of population in New Zealand. So I did more research. Maybe I spoke to the wrong person. Look, there are plenty of people that
you
still
talked to one person?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, is that your career advice?
3 or 4, and it kind of freaked me out. And I was real naive and young, right?
Yeah, of course.
So then you go in a spiral, say, okay, what's secure? What makes good money? And what can I use to build my family over here? And accounting and finance popped up many, many times. So I went into accounting finance, wanted to do investment banking, auditor, all these sort of things. And it sort of landed in public practice, right? I actually started in a small firm and I learned a lot from my first boss at that point of time. He was a property investor as well. Okay. So he invested at the age of 19.
So you actually didn't jump into accounting because of your parent. You chose it yourself.
Yeah,
because you saw them dollar signs.
Yeah, dollar signs. You're naive, right? Don't know what to do. It's safe, makes good money. And I didn't really want to go overseas to practice as an architect or interior designer because there is definitely more money there with more projects, right? Yeah. My parents gave up a lot to come here.
Yeah.
So I thought I just want to stay with them here and build a family in New Zealand. So chose accounting finance.
Hey, we had another young architect jump on the podcast one time. He does very well.
Nice.
So,
yeah. Good on him, mate.
He just talked to the wrong guy. So.
Bro, like I say, I was really young, you're so naive. You believe what people say, had the wrong advice. So don't do what I did, mate.
Yeah.
But looking back, no regrets. I think deep down inside, I'm an ENFJ as a personality. I love helping people. I love knowing their why.
Yeah.
So being a business advisor really clicks with me. Yeah.
And so you went down this path of figuring out what you want to do when you grow up, and you went down an accounting path. then what? After you graduate, what was that like?
Yeah, so I went into, it was pretty tough to find a job, not gonna lie. So whoever told me accounting is safe lied.
Because you got a lot of competition as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, there was about 500-600 graduates per year in uni, right? So you got to fight amongst these to get into the big four. I didn't get into the big four, right? But I got into a small firm. But through the small firm, I learned a lot in terms of running a business, mindset, property investing, and retirement, which I'm super thankful for my first boss still. And then from there, I got my CA. Work at a bigger firm, and it's sort of stepping up. And I actually eventually started working for my current business partners as your senior manager, Vinay and Niren. So started from there. They asked me, hey, mate, what's your why? What's your goal? I say, I want to run a practice or run my own practice by the time I'm 40. Right?
Yeah.
That's the right mindset, right? Before 40, that's all good. And they're like, mate, you're 26 right now. That's another 14 years to go, bro. That's a long time.
Yeah.
And they say, why don't you do it before you're 30? And so they really challenged me and really changed my mindset in the next couple of years. And
Niran said that to you.
Yeah, Niran and Vinay. Yeah. They're like, mate, just do it before you're 30. We did it when we're 24. So what's stopping you?
Yeah.
And then that got me to work. Eventually started thinking like a partner, doing the things, learning the skills I need to do to become an accounting partner, even though people say there's a magical age gap, right? So started learning more sales tool.
Yeah.
Learning how to speak. Most accountants are behind the desk, Excel people, Excel whiz. And I learned a lot on the side in terms of non-accounting stuff, how to run a client meeting, how to bring on sales, how to be an effective advisor, how to invest in property and businesses and all the other stuff that goes with it.
Yeah. And so it's just been smooth sailing the whole way.
Nah, no way.
Tell me about it.
Yeah. So look, lots of late nights. I used to pull long hours.
Yeah.
I always thought to myself, if I could learn what others learn in 10 years and 5 years by putting in more work, then I'll do myself a massive favor. So I always have the mindset of pushing a bit further.
Yeah.
First one in the office, last one to leave.
You definitely have that at the gym from memory.
Oh, cheers, bro. Yeah. I think one thing good about me is I'm pretty consistent in what I do. Not a massive genius like Elon Musk that will build a multi-million-dollar business, but I know I'm very consistent in what I'm doing if I put my mindset to it. So from there, obviously, Niran and Vinay, gave me the idea of becoming a partner very early. Then I said, hey, look, I've got a pretty cool idea. Let's just try to revolutionize the accounting industry. It's been quite different. They've already started it. Let's make it bigger.
Yeah.
All right. And then from there, I started buying in. And actually, going back then as well, if I didn't buy a property in my early 20s, I wouldn't have the capital enough to buy into the business as well.
Okay.
So that's a massive win.
So that means you actually bought a property really early on, and then you use the equity to buy into the company.
Correct. Leverage against the house and buy into the business at a very small scale. And now we're sort of equal shares and running BetterCo as a massive brand. And we're basically, I think, triple in size since then now.
What were some major Alister initiatives that you implemented?
Yeah, so in terms of hiring, I wanted to put a very young culture. I came from a pretty traditional accounting background, I'd say, and sometimes it's still quite hard to pull yourself out of the habit.
Yeah.
Long hours, toxic workplace, age gap. You can't be a manager before you're 30, et cetera. But now, just learning at the other side, just seeing what people could do at their age and using the knowledge out there in terms of YouTube and TikTok, you can really bring that across the business as well, right? There's no limited beliefs in terms of, hey, you have to be 40 years old before you turn partner. I always tell my team, say, hey, look, why don't you try and take my job, right? So that I can do other stuff and grow the other business.
Yeah.
And if they have the same mindset, they will start to do the things that you wanted to be doing.
Yeah, that's good. I actually say that, but their job is usually better paying than mine, so they don't want my job.
Life of a business owner.
No, that's awesome. So, okay, maybe if we had to expand on that a little bit more, what are the key factors to someone young becoming a manager? Like what is needed for them to step into that role? Yeah,
definitely. So one thing I'm really big on is have a growth mindset. You talk about it all the time, right? So there's a fixed mindset and a growth mindset person, right? A person with a fixed mindset is, look, I'm dumb, I can't do it. That's it, right? But a person with a growth mindset is, look, I might be dumb now, but I know I can keep learning and growing from there. So if you want to push ahead and be a manager pretty early on and be a partner very young, you really got to adopt the growth mindset. There's nothing that you can't do. It's just something that you haven't learned, right? So same with us, anyone can learn how to bring on a customer. People will say, oh, but Alister, I'm bad at sales, right? I can't sell. Actually, they keep saying, I can't sell. I'm a bad salesperson. If you put yourself in that fixed mindset, you'll never be able to sell the first sale.
Of course.
But if you say, hey, look, I can't bring on a customer, but I'm going to learn everything I can in the next 2 months from you as my mentor to bring on my first customer. Guess where that person's going to be in the next 2, 3, 4 years' time.
Yeah.
It's all about that 1%.
Yeah. So Niren really instilled that mindset
for sure.
into the team. Now, I want to ask as well as a follow-up question. So you have someone who's got a growth mindset, but at what point do you go, actually, I am not built for this? At what point do you go, you are thinking ahead of yourself, right? Mate. Your mindset is not helping right now.
Yeah. I tell
like
you,
at what point?
it's not all sunshine and rainbows, right?
Yeah.
It's being an entrepreneur and try to force yourself from a 9-to-5 mentality into that mindset. It's a massive journey. You don't just wake up overnight and switch it. And for me, there's a massive imposter syndrome all the time. And sometimes it still creeps up on me, saying, oh, I'm pretty young. I'm running a firm. Am I really what I'm saying? Am I really that good? And you just got to push it back down and be like, look, I might not be good right now, but you still got to have that words of encouragement from your partner, from your circle, having the right people around you to really motivate you. I think my wife is a massive factor as well.
Yeah.
She's like, can you just shut up? You're actually really good at your job and you're doing well, and BetterCo is growing because of your input and all these things.
Yeah.
And having that person around you to give you that positive reinforcement is so important.
Yeah.
So if you catch yourself with toxic friends to say, hey, look, why are you doing that, bro? Why are you trying to be an influencer? Why are you trying to be an entrepreneur? And all that stuff. You got to learn to say, is that construction criticism? Or is that just person jealous of me or trying to bring me down?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I get what you mean. So having that positive reinforcement and the support behind it is really important. Some people just seem like they're not built for certain things. Like they excel in certain other areas.
Yep.
Like let's say if they think they're really, really good at something, but maybe their skill level is not matching their mindset.
Yes.
How do you approach those situations?
Yeah, then you really got to find what you're good at.
Yeah.
We do all this strengths finder within the practice, right? Seeing what we're good at. My number one strength is being positive.
Yeah.
Guess what?
Yeah.
So obvious, right? And also wooing people, which is going out there and getting sales. So I'm actually not so much better hiding behind a screen doing accounting work.
Yeah.
So finding what you're good at and playing to your strengths is very, very important.
Yeah.
If you actually don't enjoy going out there and network, you can still be a very effective accounting partner in the technical stuff, right? Being a tax expert, being a property expert if you want to as well. So you got to find your why and how you can maximize your own value in terms of your strengths as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I find that sales is just talking about something you believe in.
Correct.
And
You're sort of trying to help someone instead of
Yeah.
selling to that person, right?
Yeah, and I think if everyone gets that, like, look, you're selling something if you don't believe in it and the person doesn't need it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, my sales tactic is actually to help a lot of people. I love helping people. You bring me a broken business, I'll think of 10 different ways to try and turn it around and make it better. So, yeah.
And so if you had to boil it down to a couple of lessons along the journey, what are your 3 biggest lessons from, starting from, okay, I'm an employee to now a partner? What would you give yourself as 3 advice?
Ooh.
The younger Alister.
Good question, man. Definitely try to find out who you are as a person early on. I actually did a lot of personality tests after I became a director, just to try to find what sort of strengths and what kind of person. Yeah. Finally, you just fall into a role, right? Because you're like, all right, let's force yourself. Then you try to ask yourself, what kind of manager I am? What kind of person I am?
Yeah.
And how do I resonate with the people around me, with my clients and my staff to motivate them? Yeah. And then I did a lot of soul searching, through these sort of tests and books and whatnot, and to really finding out what kind of person I am, how I can benefit other people around me by playing to my strengths. So I did a lot of that. Do your MBTI, your Strengths Finder, Gallup Strengths Finder, read books as well on self-development. Yeah. Because the best investment is honestly yourself.
But you did
right?
this after you became a director.
So that's the Strengths Finder, right? That's all these tests. But I think on the background, I've always been that person that likes to improve myself. So I've watch YouTube videos, go on Instagram. Not much of a reader at times. Yeah. But my first book was Rich Dad Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki.
Oh, of course.
Everyone has that. Yep. And but having the sense of.
What about the other 2 or 3 influential books that you can think of top of your mind?
I would say Simon Sinek's Golden Circle.
Oh yeah.
Start with Why.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm a massive fan of Simon Sinek, man.
Yeah.
And even on his latest one, in terms of having an infinite mindset.
Yeah.
Yeah, love that as well.
Play the infinite game.
Yep. Yeah,
Yeah.
being as long as possible. And I really reflected on that, man. Like being an entrepreneur, you try to grow all the time.
Yeah.
And sometimes your car's falling off and, your engine's broken
Yeah.
and you still keep trying to go. But it's actually trying to stay in the game as long as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, I always tell my top salespeople or top advisors, like, the thing that I tell them is not to work harder, just, are you getting enough rest?
Yeah, for sure.
know?
For sure. I mean,
It's very lucky to have those people around you.
Yeah,
you know? Like,
yeah.
I'm very lucky to have them.
Yeah. And I feel like sometimes COVID was a blessing in disguise to just find that balance as well.
Yeah.
Back then, we're just hustle, go.
Yeah.
And you almost forget about, okay, what about my home life? What about my fitness?
Yeah.
What about, my family and things like that?
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. So it sounds like that was just one lesson. What would be the other two?
Yeah. So yeah, lots of lesson, mate. So the other lesson is,
What would you tell young Alister?
young Alister is don't be too greedy, I would say. Because when I was younger...
You greedy?
Oh, in certain ways. When I was younger,
Yeah.
you want to make $10 million in 1 year, 2 year, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of young people come to me as well. Hey, how do I make 500K my next year of working?
Yeah.
Everyone wants to be a TikTok influencer and making $1 million a year. But I would say I was definitely quite greedy. I want to build so many property portfolios back then. It was a pretty good spark, right? Pretty good inspiration. But you do it at whatever cost of your mental health and you stretch your financials crazily, and you could do it at a much sustainable way.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just have it all and still have it all.
Hey, so good. Like,
Yeah,
I think there was a few podcasts back, I was just reflecting on my property lessons. And I was like, sustainability.
Yeah.
Number
Stay in
one
the long
thing.
game, right? Yeah.
Because that is what growth is. If you can sustain growth, then that is the best thing that can happen to you.
Yeah, and people, forget that, right? Your health is sort of the tectonic plate of everything. If you don't have health, you can have a nice car, you can have 10 properties, you can have the most amazing business in the world, and if you drop that tomorrow, it doesn't mean anything as well.
Yeah.
So I'm real big, as you know, a health advocate.
Yeah.
Run, gym, sauna 3 times a week, just so I can stay in the game longer, really.
Yeah.
And just
This guy used to always pull out his 6-packs.
No,
I
no.
was like, hey, I think you can get more clients if you like just did what you
Make
did
sure
in
they pay tax, eh?
uni. No. So we've got sustainability. What about the third one?
The third one I would say is find the right people that believe in you as well.
That's awesome.
That's the major one, man. So I've been to quite a few accounting firms and I work for them as well. Mind you, they're great bosses.
Yeah.
But there's this limiting belief and say, hey, look, you can't be partner before you're 40 because all other partners are 40, right? And you're going to piss off the managers and the seniors. So if you work for an environment like that have that limiting belief, you're never going to go ahead no matter how good you are.
Yeah.
It's not to their fault. It's just the way it is.
That's
right?
good.
So I was actually quite fortunate to find Vinay and Niram at a very early stage and say, hey, look, you want to be partner by 40? Let's bring it to 30 and just try to challenge that belief as well. Honestly, without them, I wouldn't be here. Yeah. I would probably still be an accounting firm owner, but wouldn't be at the size that we are collectively as a group.
Yeah. The podcast I was listening to the other day was talking about what are the common factors to someone who's really successful. And they boiled it down to one thing, and it was just the environment and the people and the peers around them. So let's just say if you're a C student and then you only hung out with A+ students, like even if you just not as good as them, you still pull your C to a B.
Yeah, I think deep down inside, everyone's sort of a little bit competitive, even though you say you're not.
Yeah.
You put everyone in the same classroom, they're going to start comparing and whatnot. And sometimes it's healthy competition as well, right?
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
And so you have a podcast as well with BetterCo. You guys are, changing the game. I think there's only like a couple of people or accountancy firm with a podcast right now.
Yep.
Tell me more about this.
Yeah, I mean, the initial concept is try to disrupt, right? How many accounting firms out there have a podcast? And actually, we love to talk shit sometimes. and clients love, our mindset in terms of business as well and finances. And, we just thought, why don't we put it properly on the podcast to share that knowledge across as well. And look, it's not all about accounting and tax. We talk about a wider scale of being an entrepreneur, our journey, running a work-life balance in terms of running a business and your personal stuff as well. And we call our podcast One Life for that reason.
Oh,
you know, you
good.
don't just have one life. So you don't just have work life and personal life. It's all just one thing and intermingle.
Yeah.
If you have any pressures on one side, it's going to affect the other side.
What about religion? Spiritual?
Yeah, that thing.
Oh, as well?
No, yeah, whichever people believe.
We maybe need to introduce a new topic.
Triple life.
Yeah. No, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. And so is it something that you solo podcast? Like what? Tell me the format, because it's almost like fresh off the boat. I don't know if you guys have seen it. Well, it's not something I listen to. I just know about it because it's viral. But it's strictly business.
Not so much business. We tie a lot of stuff into personal stuff as well. You know, we talk about personal finances, your relationship with money. How does your wife feel about certain transactions? You know, all this sort of thing. It really resonates, and we're trying to target sort of entrepreneurs and business owners out there, or even people that want to improve their financial well-being, right? Yeah, so it's the four of us. Four of us are directors. We just sit in a room, pretty casual on a couch, and we just chat about a certain topic each time. Yeah.
Now I want to go back, rewind a little bit, because you talked about property investing really early on, and what was the inspiration for property investing so early, like in the early 20s? Yeah,
I mean, there's a few, when you really think back about any property investor's journey, right? They wouldn't turn up one day and be like, okay, I'm going to be a multi-million-dollar property investor. There are certain trigger points that will trigger that. And I've thought about it. There's two key ones. The first one is my first client that I ever brought on board, right? Yeah. So the first client I brought on board was this, mid-aged lady. She's probably earning only $60K a year. And she has 2 properties on the side, positive cash flow. And when you start to think about her net assets at a point of time versus, other, parents that I see that's struggling to meet retirement, you're like, mate, she's making $60K a year. But you compare these guys, they're making 6 figures. It's 2 different lifestyles in terms of retirement. And you try to piece together the puzzle, right? At a point of time, I've already read Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. You try to piece of the puzzle, something doesn't make sense. She's investing consistently in property. She's having a chill job. She's having an extra 20K of income from a net rental, and these guys are struggling to pay their mortgages. Yeah. How does that? Yeah. So that's definitely the first trigger point. Yeah. And I'll even compare it to my parents as well, because I love my parents to bits, right? But in terms of investing and journey, they're definitely, there's something they could do better on. And when you realize that as an adult, and you try to help them as well, so. Got my mum to buy her first rental property a few years back as well.
Oh, so good.
And just try to change their mindset too, in terms of, not all debt are bad. Yeah. Yeah, and there's a right time to invest in the right market.
Oh, so good, man.
Yeah. So that's probably the first trigger point. Yeah, comparing. And us accountants, we see everyone's tax returns, right? Yeah. We see who's really making money and who's actually living the dream. And you realize a lot of these property investors, they're not making mega bucks. They're just humble couple making a decent income, but they're very consistent in their strategy. Yeah. And they've built the life they can in the next 10, 15 years. And that's just so amazing to see it, man.
I didn't tell Alister to say any of this.
Oh, no.
But he's saying the same thing that I say.
Yeah. Self-belief.
That is awesome.
Yeah. And obviously the second one is I actually surrounded myself by accident into really good investors like my bosses back then. He started investing when he was 19. Wow. And he actually said, hey, look, why don't you just buy your first property? And then my second boss as well, and the second firm I work for, he owns multiple property as well, and he's pretty much set for retirement. And you look at these common factors, same with all these, tycoons in Asia and rich listers, you see property come up just way too many times. Yeah. And I'm quite an intuitive thinker, and I try to piece together puzzles like, look, everyone here that's doing well has one thing in common, which is property investing. Yeah. So it would be silly not to just look into it as well, Yeah. Yeah.
And so what did you buy as your first one?
Oh, my mom didn't like it, man. I wasn't married. Asian households, if you're not married, you're not allowed to buy a property with your partner. So actually, at that point of time, I bought one with my girlfriend, which is now my wife, Kirsten. Yeah. Thankfully.
Me too. I bought it. Well, I proposed after we bought the house.
Yeah. It's sort of, it's quite interesting, right? Like,
well, actually, no, my story's wrong. I proposed, then we bought a house, and then we got the house before we got married.
So you sealed the deal first.
Yeah. Actually, no, I did it. I feel like that was the proper way.
Yeah, I think back then this was 2014, so it's after that massive pump in 2013. Yeah, and sort of a little bit FOMO because I've been saving up for a deposit for the whole time I was working. Right, I've been working for probably 4.5 years at that point in time. Yeah. Saved up probably $100,000-ish. And I thought, look, if I don't buy a property now, I don't think I ever will. So I actually pulled the trigger and say, hey, look, why don't we go 50-50 and buy a house? And back then, the only house I could afford was in Manurewa.
Oh, really?
Yeah, 600K budget, nothing crazy, very humble. And then, like I say, my mom wasn't happy.
Yeah.
She was
what was that house? Was it a freehold or?
No, it was actually a cross lease.
A cross lease, okay.
Yeah, because all the houses around there was around 800K.
Yeah.
So the only thing we could afford closer to the city was about 600K back then.
Yeah.
Three beddy, one bathroom, double garage, fully fenced, nice
Oh,
little
then
dog.
I can see why the Asian parent don't like it.
Cross lease.
Yeah, oh, jeez.
Yeah. Look, cross lease doesn't blow up, right? And it's still good value. We still got a lot out of the property.
Yeah,
like I say,
of
if
course.
we didn't invest in that property back then in 2014, I wouldn't be able to take out the equity to put into my business.
Yep.
I wouldn't be able to put equity into my next few houses and investments. I wouldn't be able to invest in a lot of business ventures I have today. Yes.
So the lesson there is the action more so to make it perfect.
Yeah. And
Because,
don't get scared away.
yeah. That's what we find with properties, like over time, it doesn't matter.
And sort of surround yourself with the right people.
Yeah.
I think at that point of time, I was working in a firm. The manager and my bosses back then were heavy property investors. So I had a lot of good guidance from them. And the Barfoot and Thompson auction house was just downstairs, right?
Yeah.
So you just go there. Every lunchtime I was just there. I ate my lunch in 5-10 minutes, go downstairs, watch the auction. And I watched like probably 20 plus auctions before I bought my house.
Jeez.
Yeah, over lunchtime. And you just really got to put in the effort
Yeah.
to do that.
I failed 10 auctions before I bought mine, actually.
Wow.
Yeah. It was like the 11th.
Most people would have quit by 5 or 10 and it's too hard.
Yeah, it was so tiring.
Yeah.
But we got there.
Property is all game of consistency, man.
Yeah.
Long game, right?
Yeah, awesome. And so looking forward to 2024, what are your focus now? What are your goals?
My goal is definitely keep building BetterCo. We're trying to take it to a $10 million business.
Okay.
We're sort of halfway there now.
Okay.
And then, keep building, creating the lifestyle that we want through that without getting burnt out.
Yeah.
That's the main thing. I mean, accounting firms, it can really suck your time up, mate. You can work 80, 100 hours a week but now we've sort of got a pretty good balance, promoting the right people in the business, having a really good culture that people enjoy coming to work. That's really important as well. And then, keep building property on the side, keep investing in other passive businesses. Just build that lifestyle that we really want in New Zealand.
What about family?
Yeah, family too. Yeah, sorry, I didn't talk about it. Talk about business and money.
So when's that little one coming?
Yeah. So we're still traveling right now, man, like everyone.
Yeah.
We lost 3 years in COVID, so we're trying to catch up right now.
Where are you going next?
We're actually going to Korea in September.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. Nice. Just a bit of R&R,
Yeah,
a bit of
already
break.
locked in.
Yeah, and we still work, remotely all the time, so it's nothing too crazy.
And properties?
Yeah, properties. We actually just sold one of our rental property.
Yeah.
And
Which is the first one?
Yeah.
The better
Manurewa
one. Yep.
I mean, it's costing us 25 grand a year. I'm an accountant, right? Numbers-wise, doesn't make sense. You keep it for 2 years and you lose 50K, and the equity value might not go up versus agent fees.
Yeah.
So we decided to let it go. It's quite an emotional thing because it's our first house. And the next step is to actually find a better investment property, something I can subdivide in the future.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, probably around West or South Auckland, a big piece of land, distressed sale, people come meet their mortgages, etc., and then try to snatch something out even better.
Damn, you're ruthless.
Yeah, no ruthless, mate.
No, that's really awesome. So if you, those are your goals, then immediately, what are the few key focus, like next few levers you're trying to pull?
Yeah, so next few levers is try to get someone to take my job at BetterCo, right? Because, as entrepreneurs, you can be very time poor. And if you're constantly on the tools and the business, you actually don't have time to work on the business stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure you know very well.
So if you guys want to listening and you want to be an accounting partner, then who to
take my job,
tap
mate.
into.
Yeah. No, definitely. I just want someone else to come up and do the things I do in terms of advisory and work. And it's very hard to scale advisory and practice.
Yeah.
A lot of accounting partners do it very well themselves. But how do you then get the juniors and the seniors to do that?
AI, simple. Open AI.
Everyone's trying to take our jobs soon, eh?
Yeah.
We still want
I think it's coming though, robo advice.
Yeah, for sure.
It won't be long. I mean, you can
Imagine
build bots like for free.
Yeah. But it's funny, right? People know there's AI and bots, but people still want that human element all the time. Yeah, I think that's just human nature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you just need to train someone that knows how to use AI really well.
Yeah. Yeah, no, we're doing a lot, man, in terms of growing the team to do more advisory stuff. We do a lot of role playing in BetterCo, pushing them. And even the grads, a lot of them say, hey, don't pick up the phone. You might make mistakes. We're like, nah, call the client, do more. Do whatever a senior accountant's going to do. If you do it well enough, we're going to pay you like a senior accountant. Guess what? Right?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It sounds like a really exhilarating place to work in.
Yeah, we're trying to make it fun. Everyone's there to learn and win,
Before we wrap up, I thought, a lot of our audience listen because they are thinking about property investing or they are early in their journey. Of course, we got the veteran investors as well. What would you give someone who's just starting out, buying their first one or buying their second one?
I would say, like I mentioned earlier before, surround yourself with the right people. Because if you surround yourself with the wrong people, they say, oh, it's a bad market. It's the wrong time to buy. You're going to lose heaps of money. Sometimes it might be good advice, but sometimes they haven't done it before, right? If they haven't done it before, how would they give you the advice to do so? So, pick your crowd and pick your mentors and coaches. Talk to the people that have walked the road and done the journey before, right? Listen to their wise advice. If it really is a bad market, then obviously think twice and do your DD. But there's always a gem in every market, I say. Yeah, you just got to look harder.
Yeah, there's always opportunities.
Yeah, always opportunities. You just got to look harder.
Yeah, that's really good advice. Reflecting on the advice that you're actually taking in and who is it from?
In terms of, what do you mean in terms of who is it from? Like,
I guess, like you said, is it someone that's walked the walk?
Yes, right? For sure.
Or is it someone that actually believes in you?
Yeah.
Right?
I think both ways.
Are they someone that's like potentially pulling you down? Right? Yeah.
No, we don't talk about the detractors, mate. But yeah, definitely from the right mentors and coaches I surround myself with, the people that's done the journey before. And even inspiration, like even people like you, Blandon, that, we don't always talk day to day, but we still see each other's successes and journey.
Yeah.
And it really inspires you, right? So, you just got to feel that in instead of jealousy. Some people bring that in and be like, oh, that guy's doing so well. He's taking all our property. He's making too much money.
Right.
There's always going to be people out there.
My fish in the lake.
but people, if you have a positive mindset, you'll be like, man, that guy's inspiring me.
Yeah.
How do I learn to be like him and how to learn from the knowledge as well?
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, don't victimize yourself, man.
Yeah, that's right. So there you guys have it, folks. Alister, fantastic to have you on today. Thank you for your advice. Thank you for sharing your story. And if you guys want to learn more from Alister, from an accounting side, business side, you guys can check out his podcast, BetterCo, on YouTube.
BetterCo or One Life. We'll call it podcast One Life, or you can see us on our website, www.betterco.nz.
Gosh, you still say dub.
Yeah, old school, mate. And or you follow me on LinkedIn, Alister Siew, and I'm more than happy to help.
Awesome. Thank you for jumping on. And remember, if you guys have found value today, all you need to do is do one thing for us because we need your support, and that is to share this episode with one other person who's going to benefit from it. Until next time, I'll see you guys again.